Hello friends, today again I am before you with the answer of yesterday's question. Yesterday, if you remember, we gave a question from philosophy of religion. So now let us see what is the question and what can be the model answer for that. We will discuss that. Now the question was critically evaluate the ontological argument for existence of God. Now in this question, already it is being said that you have to critically evaluate. Now in such questions, what we have to do basically, even if it's simple question, direct question, and it's not said that you critically evaluate, still some points of criticism and some logical conclusion you have to write. But here, since it's directly telling that critically evaluate the ontological argument for existence of God, so basically about 60% of the word limit you have to spend for explaining the ontological argument, what is that, and then about 40% of word limit you have to spend for uh, criticism and further uh, evaluation of the whole thing, including conclusion. Now, in evaluation, sometimes, what I want to say is it's not in, critical evaluation does not include only criticism. It also includes some positive points or some strengths of that argument if they have. So basically, your critical evaluation has to be a balanced kind of evaluation. So basically, in first 60% of the answer, you will be describing the ontological argument. The next 40% you will be critically evaluating. You will write a few criticisms, and then you will also try to uh, explain what are the strengths or positive points of this argument, and then finally try to conclude. So this will be the basically format of this answer. Now, if in some questions it's only writing that discuss ontological argument or what is ontological argument for existence of God without saying critically evaluate, there also, yes, you number of words you can reduce, because then more number of words you will have to write for exposition of the argument, the description of the argument itself. But still, if not 40%, but still 20 to 30% words you have to use for critical evaluation of that argument and conclusion. So that, and this also will depend on number of words in which you are going to answer the question. If it is only 150 words, then your whole strategy will change. If it is 300 words, then strategy will be different. So here we are going with 300 words answer. So now let us see what is the ontological argument and what can be the positive and negative points of this and how we can conclude. Now, again, another thing I just want to tell you, sometimes starting the answer with some very catchy question mark or quotation or line also may be useful. Now, this may not be for all questions because you may not remember and it's not practically possible also. But definitely, if for some questions you can do that, you start with some catchy line or, which attracts the attention of examiner immediately, perhaps that may sometimes fetch you better marks, because all these are experimental things, and all these are basically uh, sometimes will definitely you will be rewarded. So here we are doing the same thing. So if you see the first 2 3 lines, this is a very engaging kind of lines which we are starting with the answer for any examiner or for any reader of this answer. So now let us start. Now, can the mere concept of perfect being prove that such a being exists? This is the bold claim of the ontological argument, formulated first by St. Anselm of Canterbury in his book Prologue. So, in the first sentence, we are giving too much information. It's a very engaging sentence. So, therefore, first 2 sentences. So, that's what I just want to draw your attention to, because some questions definitely you can try a strategy like this. I will read it again just to make it clear what is the strategy here. These are very engaging lines and giving a good information. First impression to the examiner will be quite good basically. Can the mere concept of a perfect being prove that such a being exists? This is the bold claim of the ontological argument first formulated by St. Anselm of Canterbury in the Prologue. Now, now we'll definitely elaborate, and then some other thinkers are also regarding ontological argument they have further added, that also will explain. Now, Anselm defines God as that than which nothing greater can be conceived. So this is what Anselm's argument. The God is something than than which nothing greater can be conceived. He argues that if God exists only in understanding, we can conceive a greater being, one that exists in reality. Thus, God must exist both in mind and in reality. So this is basically the crux of the argument, Anselm's argument. Now, the argument appeal lies in its a priori nature, because here you already know a priori, a posteriori, because a priori is only mental application. A posteriori means it's empirical. You have to observe something, you can physically observe. So this argument is totally a priori argument. It uses pure reason, not empirical evidence. This is a priori argument. Now, Descartes, again in his book, Fifth Meditation, reformulated it. So Descartes, another modern rationalist, modern time rationalist, rational thinkers, he again reformulated it, asserting that existence is a necessary predicate. So this is what Descartes' view. Existence is a necessary predicate of a supremely perfect being, just as having three angles is essential to a triangle. So this is what Descartes' view. Existence is a necessary predicate of a perfect being, just a triangle is having three angles. Now, what are the criticism of these arguments? Let us see that, and let us try to critically evaluate the whole thing. Immanuel Kant, one of the strong critiques of this argument, in his book Critique of Pure Reason, famously countered this, that existence is not a real predicate. What is Kant's view? Existence is not a real predicate. It adds nothing to the concept of a thing. That's what he says. To say that God exists does not enhance the idea of God, but posits its instantiation. So this is what Kant's argument, that existence is not a real predicate at all. So to say that we see that some perfect being is there, therefore it necessarily means it exists, is not correct. Again, David Hume, another critic, in Dialogues Concerning Natural Religions, argued that no matter how compelling an idea, existence claims require empirical grounding. So Hume told that no, a priori thing will not accept. So unless there is empirical proof or empirical grounding, existence cannot be proved. So this is what Hume's critique. Now, another critique of the Anselm's time, contemporary to Anselm, Gonilo of Marmitus. He is basically Anselm's contemporary. He challenged that argument, positing a perfect island, suggesting that defining something into existence leads to absurdity. He said that, let us imagine that there is a perfect island. So since the perfect island cannot exist in my mind only, it should exist somewhere in reality also. But then he told that there is no such island. So therefore, this is a very, very circular thing or contradictory thing we are talking, that defining something into existence leads to absurdity. That's what his argument was, and this was he was contemporary to Anselm himself. But despite strong critiques, the argument remains influential. Obviously, this very influential argument. Contemporary defenders like Alvin Plantinga, he is one of the defenders, have reformulated it using modal logic, arguing for the possible necessity of a maximally greater being. So what Plantinga says, it may not be God, but definitely there is a possibility of a maximally great being. So that's what Plantinga's view, by using modal logic. While few accepts the argument as conclusive, it endures as a conceptual provocation. So this is definitely a thought-provoking argument. So conceptual provocation, it challenges us to ask, can logical necessity imply ontological reality? So this, see, again, another thing I keep on telling to students, please do have a notebook or digital book of important philosophical terms, phrases, etc., and try to use in your answer writing. So here also, if you see, a number of terms have been used which have some meaning and basically quite impressive to examiners. But Yes, obviously, all you may not remember, but definitely whatever you remember, you have to use that. So similarly here, can logical necessity imply ontological reality? Ontology means metaphysical, I mean existence. Ontology, metaphysical, all these things are existence. Epistemology is related to knowledge. So can logical necessity imply ontological reality, or does existence require more than the mind alone can deliver? It remains a hallmark of enduring dialogue between faith and reason. So this is the conclusion. Now in this question, I mean answer, basically you will see that both beginning and end, both are quite engaging and quite thought provocative. So this is intentionally I have used here, because in some questions definitely you have to think and use like that, because your beginning and end has to be very, very thought provoking or engaging, or you can say a very catchy kind of thing. So here basically in this answer it has been done. So please see, in some questions or some answers you can use that wherever possible. It may impress the examiner definitely to get you better marks. So this completes this question today. Now let us see tomorrow's question. Tomorrow we will be having a question from socio-political philosophy. And the question is liberty compatible with imposition of reasonable restrictions? Discuss. Uh, Again, I will read, is liberty compatible with imposition of reasonable restrictions? Discuss. And I can tell you another thing, that whatever socio-political philosophy questions we want to discuss, uh, we will definitely bring it Indian context there, because uh, a lot of space or number of words have to be spent for Indian context, basically explanations and ideas and theory. So that thing we will be doing in socio-political philosophy, because Indian Constitution we will be dealing with Supreme Court cases. We will also dealing with some other theoretical concepts or practical problems in India. So all those things we will be dealing. So tomorrow we will again meet with this question. Now I just want to request all of you, if you want me to take some specific question from philosophy for model answer or something, you can also send me mail, mail ID, etc. are already given in the description. So please do that, because then I will be able to take up those questions, because I have my own most probable questions, and I'm day by day I'm taking that. But still, if some of you believe that some other question can be taken, you can suggest me, and then accordingly you can compare your answers with my answers, and then you can finally decide. So that also you can send mail to me, or at least write in the comments also of this video, so that also I can take from there. So thanks a lot for watching today's video. We will meet again tomorrow with the model answer of socio-political philosophy question. Thank you one and all.